All right, so you're prepping for a pet sitter interview. Obviously, you love animals, but how do you really show that in an interview and impress those potential employers?
Yeah, that's what we're going to get into today. We're going way beyond, just saying, I love puppies, and we'll give you the info and the strategies to really stand out.
And we have some great resources to help us do just that. RoleCatcher's Pet Sitter Career Guide AD, their interview guide. Plus, we'll be using some of their AI tools too.
It's like a personal prep session,
Right.
not just going over questions, but really figuring out what the interviewer is trying to learn about you.
Okay, so first, the pet sitting world itself. The career guide talks about this. Pet sitters do all sorts of things, not just dog walking, but also overnight stays and even giving medication. It's serious business.
Yeah, and it's a growing field,
Uh,
especially in cities. More and more people need someone they can trust to watch their pets. More opportunities, but also more competition.
and that's where RoleCatcher's AI can come in. I was reading how it can actually analyze job descriptions and then help you tailor your resume so you're highlighting the exact skills that employers are looking for.
Yeah, that's huge, especially with so many companies using those automated systems to filter applications. You're basically speaking their language, and it goes even further than that. RoleCatcher also has tools that let you actually practice answering interview questions and even get AI-powered feedback on how you sound and how you're communicating.
Wow, it's like having your own coach. Okay, so let's actually look at some of these interview questions. Both of the guys we have list 10 common ones. We'll go through them one by one. So the first one, this is a classic. Tell us about your experience working with animals. Seems pretty basic, but what are they really trying to figure out?
They're looking for real passion, not just a memorized answer. So you got to think about all those ways you've interacted with animals, volunteering, fostering, even just growing up with pets. All of that shows your dedication.
So if you spent your childhood taking care of a rescue dog, that's something to bring up.
Absolutely. It shows you have empathy and understand how animals behave. And what if you don't have tons of hands-on experience? Don't worry. Focus on transferable skills. Like maybe you're great at organizing events. That's helpful for managing multiple pets. Or if you've been a tutor, that shows patience, which is great for training.
And RoleCatcher's AI can actually look at your experiences and suggest the best way to present them for pet sitting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you do great on that first question. What's a follow-up they might ask?
They might ask something like, what's the most challenging pet situation you've faced and how did you deal with it? They want to see how you problem solve and stay calm under pressure.
So you'd want to have an example, like maybe a dog got loose or a cat had an emergency.
Exactly. And focus on what you learned. Did it make you more careful or more proactive?
That makes sense.
Okay.
Question number 2, how do you handle pets that need medication or have special needs? Now it's getting more specific.
Yeah, now they're looking for comfort with giving specialized care. Be upfront about what you've done. If you've given a diabetic pet injections, that's big. But if not, just emphasize your willingness to learn and follow directions carefully.
And again, this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be so useful. You can practice this exact question and the AI will analyze your answer and tell you if you're clear and concise and
Yeah.
even suggest ways to emphasize certain points.
Wow, yeah, it's like a script editor. Okay, next up. Question 3. This one's about safety. How do you handle a pet that's aggressive or unpredictable?
Yeah, that brings in a whole other level of responsibility.
Definitely. You want to show you put safety first, both for yourself and the animal, so you could talk about your knowledge of animal body language and how to see signs of stress or anxiety.
And if you've taken any courses in dog training or animal behavior, this is the time to mention it.
Right, or even if you've just learned from years of having cats. It all shows you get it.
And they might follow up with something like, have you ever been bitten or scratched and how did you react?
They want to see that you can handle the unexpected and stay professional. All right, moving on. Question 4. This one's about managing relationships. How do you handle a client who is unhappy with your services?
Oh, conflict resolution. Got to be ready for that.
It happens. Not everyone's going to be happy all the time. The best thing you can do is show that you're a good listener. Say that you would first really try to understand their concerns, apologize if needed, and then work together to find a solution.
So you're turning a negative into a positive, showing you can learn and adapt. And RoleCatcher's AI can even help you practice these kinds of answers, making sure you sound calm and ready to solve problems.
Exactly. All right, you ready for question 5? This one's a little more fun. Can you give an example of a time when you went above and beyond for a pet or client?
Ooh, time to brag a little. This is where you can really show your love for animals.
And it doesn't have to be some huge heroic thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you stayed late to comfort a pet during a storm, or made a special treat for a dog's birthday.
Or even if you saw a client struggling with groceries and offered to help. It's the little things.
Totally. Okay, question 6 gets into logistics. How do you prioritize tasks when you're caring for multiple pets at once?
Yeah, that's the juggling act. Imagine a dog that needs a long walk, a cat that needs medicine at a specific time, and a bird that needs fresh food and water. How do you keep track of it all?
It's all about organization and time management. You could talk about using a scheduling app or making checklists, or even color coding your calendar.
And once again, don't forget about RoleCatcher's AI tools. They can help you practice these questions and give you feedback on your time management skills.
For sure. Okay, let's finish this first section with question 7. How do you ensure the safety and security of the pets in your care? This is all about being proactive.
So you could talk about things like double-checking leashes, making sure fences are secure, and being aware of potential dangers in a client's home.
Right, like poisonous plants or medications that are easy to reach, and also being prepared for unexpected things like what if a dog gets off its leash? Having the plan for those what-if scenarios will really impress them.
That's a great point. Okay, so we've covered the first 7 questions. We'll get to the rest in the next part of our deep dive.
Welcome back. So we've gone through 7 common questions already, really focusing on showing your experience and passion for animals.
Now let's look at some that are more about you, like your personality, how you work, and how you handle tough situations. Ready for number 8?
Yeah, hit me.
Okay, this is another classic. What are your strengths and weaknesses as a pet sitter? Bit of a tricky one, but is your chance to show you know yourself.
Right. For strengths, you really want to focus on the stuff that's directly related to pet care. Patience, being reliable, attention to detail, and obviously that love for animals.
And for weaknesses.
Yeah.
We all have them, but I'm guessing you want to say, I am terrified of big dogs, or I always forget to feed the cat.
Yeah, not the best idea.
Yeah.
The trick is to choose a weakness that you're actually working on. Like maybe you're kind of shy, but you're practicing how to communicate better with clients.
Or maybe you get stressed when you have a lot to do, but you're using time management apps and stuff to stay organized.
That's it. They want to see that you're not only aware of your weaknesses, but you're also trying to improve. And RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you with this too. It can help you present your weaknesses in a positive light, showing you're dedicated to self-improvement.
Speaking of improvement, what if they ask about your long-term goals? Something like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I feel like this is where that career stages section in RoleCatcher's career guide comes in.
Oh, definitely. It shows you all the different paths you can take as a pet sitter. Maybe you see yourself building up a client base and being the go-to sitter in your area. Or maybe you're thinking about starting your own pet sitting business.
Or maybe you really love working with senior pets or animals with special needs, and you see yourself specializing in that.
It's all about showing that you're thinking ahead and that you're excited about the different things you can do in this field. Even if you don't have a solid 5-year plan, just showing that you're ambitious is key.
Okay, now for a question that can be kind of tough, what are your salary expectations?
Yeah, this one is all about research and knowing your worth. Don't undersell yourself, but be realistic too. Look at what other pet sitters in your area are making. Think about your experience and factor in any extra costs like gas money.
Yeah, and don't forget, it's a two-way street. You're bringing valuable skills to the table. Be ready to give a range and be open to talking about it.
And let them see how enthusiastic you are about the role in the company. That passion can sometimes be more important than just money.
Now, for a question that might seem kind of strange, what are your hobbies and interests outside of pet sitting? Seems a bit random, right?
It might, but they're trying to get to know you as a person. So if you're a hiker, that's relevant if you be walking dogs. Or if you volunteer at a shelter, that shows your dedication to animals.
And even hobbies that don't seem related can show important skills. Like if you're a knitter, you could say it requires patience and attention to detail.
Right. It's all about connecting the dots. Okay, back to a tougher one. Tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult situation with a pet owner. Kind of like that question about unhappy clients, but more focused on conflict resolution.
So what kind of situations are they looking for here?
Could be anything, really. Disagreement about food, a miscommunication about timing, even a pet having an accident in their house. The main thing is to show you can stay calm, listen to their concerns, and find a solution.
And also talk about what you learned from that experience. Did it make you a better communicator or better at solving problems?
Showing that you reflect on things is really important. It tells them you're not just going through the motions, but trying to grow. All right, question 11. How do you manage your schedule and make sure you can meet everyone's needs? This is super important if you're working on your own or thinking about starting your own business.
Definitely. Got to be organized.
Exactly. Do you use a scheduling app? Do you color code your calendar? Maybe you have a system for confirming bookings and dealing with last-minute changes.
You want to show them that you're reliable and clients can depend on you. Okay, question 12. This one's about your approach. What's your philosophy on disciplining a pet?
Ooh, this is a big one. You really want to emphasize positive reinforcement, rewarding good behavior instead of punishing bad behavior. So talk about redirection using treats and praise and creating a positive environment.
And be clear about what you're not okay with, like physical punishment.
Transparency is key.
Okay, question 13. What steps do you take to make sure the pet's environment is safe and secure? Sounds kind of like that earlier one about safety, but now it's more about their surroundings.
Yeah, they want to make sure you're thinking about everything. So talk about checking for poisonous plants, making sure fences are secure, even things like loose cords or medications that are easy to get to.
And also about making the environment comfortable for the pet. Fresh water, comfy bedding, and appropriate toys. And if you're staying overnight, making sure the house is safe and taken care of.
Right, it's all about that pet's well-being, making sure they feel safe and happy. All right, question 14. How do you deal with a pet that has separation anxiety? This is something pet sitters see a lot, so showing that you can handle it calmly is important.
What are some things you can do?
You could talk about creating a calm space, giving them toys to distract them using pheromone sprays or diffusers, and sticking to a routine.
And if it's really bad or you're not sure what to do, you can always talk to the owner or even a vet to get advice.
Absolutely. Showing that you're not afraid to ask for help is a good thing.
Okay, just 2 more to go in this section. Question 15. How do you handle a situation where a pet's routine needs to be adjusted? Could be anything from travel issues to the owner getting sick or even a change in their work schedule.
Yeah, being flexible is super important here. Things don't always go as planned. So you want to show that you can stay calm and adjust to new situations.
You could give some examples, like changing feeding times, adjusting walking routes, or even changing playtime activities to fit the pet's needs or a new environment.
Exactly. It's all about showing that you can go with the flow and always put the pet's needs first. Okay, ready for the last one in the set?
Yeah, bring it on.
How do you handle a situation where a pet isn't responding to your care? This could be anything from not eating to acting weird or even seeming tired or sad.
This is where those observation skills come in, and knowing how animals behave.
For sure. You need to show that you can see potential problems and talk to the owner about them. So you could mention things like keeping a journal of what the pet does, watching how much they eat and drink, and noticing any changes in their behavior.
And if you see something worrying, you would call the owner right away. And even talk to a vet if you think it might be medical.
Right. You're showing them that you're proactive and attentive and that you take the pet's health seriously. You're not just there to play with cute animals. You're a responsible caregiver who's looking out for them.
Okay, we've gone over a lot here about your personality, your work ethic handling challenges, and giving great pet care. But before we move on to the last part of our deep dive, I just want to say one more time how helpful RoleCatcher's AI tools can be.
Totally agreed. They're so valuable throughout the whole interview process. Not only can they help with your resume and cover letter, but they can also give you feedback on your answers to these common questions.
And they can even analyze your practice videos to help you improve your delivery body language and how you present yourself.
It's like having a virtual interview coach with you all the time. Okay, everyone, we're going to move on to our final thoughts and some key takeaways from our deep dive into pet sitter interviews. Stay with us.
All right, we're back for the last part of our pet sitter interview deep dive.
We've covered a ton of stuff, from what the job actually involves to all those tough interview questions.
Yeah, so now let's take all this info and figure out the key takeaways, the things you can really use to ace that interview.
Okay, so first things first. Be yourself. Let your passion for animals shine through. When you're talking about your experiences, they should be able to see how much you love pets.
Yeah, it's got to be genuine. They can tell if you're just saying what you think they want to hear.
And speaking of preparation, those guides from RoleCatcher are amazing. Use them to learn about the pet sitting world, the different services you could offer, and the different career paths you could take.
Show them that you're not just looking for any job. You want to build a career working with animals.
And those AI tools are a huge help too. Spend some time figuring out how they can help you with your application, practicing your answers, and even getting feedback on how you communicate.
It's like having a whole team of experts supporting you. Now, what about transferable skills? Even if you haven't been a professional pet sitter before, you probably have other experiences that can apply.
Oh, definitely. Think about your strengths. communicating, organizing, problem solving, and connecting with animals. Maybe you volunteered at a shelter, trained your own dog, or even just watched pets for friends and family.
Yeah, all of that shows responsibility and that you understand what animals need.
And one last thing to remember. An interview isn't just about answering questions, it's also about making a connection. They're trying to see if you'd be a good fit for their company or their family.
So be enthusiastic and engaged, and be genuinely interested in the role and the people you'd be working with.
Ask good questions, show your personality, and let that love for animals come through. That's what's going to make you stand out.
Now, before we wrap up completely, there's one more thing I wanted to mention. RoleCatcher's Career Guide has this section on related careers. And I think it's a great reminder that pet sitting can lead to other opportunities in the animal care world.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Maybe after some experience, you realize you love dog training. Or you want to work in a vet clinic. Or maybe you even want to open your own pet boarding place.
So many possibilities. Pet sitting could be the start of an amazing career working with animals.
All right, so as we finish up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought. How are you going to go above and beyond to make the experience truly special for both the pet and their owner?
Yeah, think outside the box. Maybe you leave a handwritten note for the owner, take extra pictures of their pet, or even teach their dog a new trick.
It's those little things that show you really care. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about getting the job, it's about making a difference in the lives of animals and the people who love them.
So go out there and rock that interview. Show them why you're the best pet sitter for the job. We're rooting for you.
Absolutely. And remember, this is just the beginning. Keep learning, keep growing, and never lose that passion for animals.